Gopinath ki Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Prabhupada, Paramahamsa, Prabhupada, Saraswati Shishima, Disnandesh, Marisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. ISKCON, BBT, Sangstha, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Parivrajakacharya, Saraswati Shishima, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Namacharya Shivharidas Thakur ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Rajbhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Janamukhi Dham ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki Jai. Ganga Mai ki Jai. Jamuna Mai ki Jai. Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki Jai. Transcendental Book and Prasadam Distribution ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki Jai. Shri Jamastami Mahamahotsava ki Jai. Gaura Premanande. All glories to the Son of the Lord. All glories to the Son of the Lord. All glories to the Son of the Lord. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Shri Guru. Shri Guru Vandana. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord amongst the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of the lotus feet. May your fame spread all over the universe. We take shelter in the lotus feet, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So now we're going to have a class, and today we have a very special guest. Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I would just like to introduce, because I think many of you might not know him. Hare Krishna Prabhu is a member of this community for many, many years. He joined in 1990. And he's a disciple of Purijan Prabhu. So he's very well known for his attachment to the holy name, and today he will glorify Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yamuna Tira Life is dry now, isn't it? That's why we chant Hare Krishna. Then life gets juicy. So, Janma of Krishna is a very mystical thing, of course, because he is Bhagavan, Satchidananda Vigraha. It's full of all whatever powers we can imagine, yes, but whatever powers we do not. We cannot imagine, he also has this transcendence. Essentially, in potential, we are of that realm, Jiva. Satchidananda Vigraha also. But by the influence of calm, we are forced to accept material reality with conceptions, I and mine. I think I have a man's body. She may think she has a lady's body. But if we lead it to a degree of neutral contemplation, this is what Bhagavad Gita teaches us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is what Bhagavad Gita teaches us to understand. Prabhupada's first lesson when he came to the West, you are not the body. So we are not the body. And having realization about not being the body is a cool thing, because the intricate mind who tortures the entity, we look at the state of the world, very trist, very bad, sad state. It's a simple thing actually. It's all to neglecting one's origin and thinking of terms and I and mine. According to one's ability, one acquires from nature. One is adept, expert in acquiring material assets. We form, lobbies, states, we form interests, and whoever follows powers that are generated by powerful beings, they can somehow or another get what they want. But it's always only temporary. It's not the state of acquiring essential things. This is what Bhagavad Gita teaches. And Bhakti Yoga. Krishna is taking birth, not actually for himself. He has everything anyway. But he does that to give pleasure ultimately to the devotees. Saudidam sarvabhutanam or panitranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam. He protects the sane sadhunam. Sadhu can mean many things. In this connection, how the Bhagavad Gita teaches there is sadhu who is sane, who has an ability to impart knowledge, is coming for this reality, to lift up the living being. When Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj were waiting for a child for a long time, Yashoda got the inspiration from brahmanas, from astrologers, that she should perform a vrata because they long time did not get a child. And they performed this vrata. So they performed this vrata. They performed the vrata, and they had festival every day, festival. And after this vrata was over, after 1 year, finally Nanda Maharaj got a dream in which beautiful blue boy manifested in his mind, in the dream. And then from the mind to the heart, and from the heart, this is now a little bit, it's a very mystical thing, to the womb of Yashoda. And from the womb, at night, at midnight, at 12 o'clock, she gave birth to Krishna, Radha Krishna. In the same time, in the cell of Kamsa's castle, in the cell, Devaki gave birth to a son, to Devaki Krishna. So they were born at the same time. Shortly after the birth of Krishna, Yogamaya took also birth as the younger sister of Krishna. And Vasudeva was very concerned about Kamsa coming and killing his boy, because he killed all his children before. And he said, Krishna, you have seen the picture of baby Krishna and the four-handed Krishna form, beautiful picture, with Shankha, Gada, Shankha, Patra, Gada, something. Shankha, Gada, Padma, Chakra. So that was this book. He said, don't worry, you bring me, you take me over to the Jamuna to Gokul Mahama, and you exchange me with the baby of Yashoda. They knew each other. So he did this. It's very mysterious, of course. The chains broke, the guards fell asleep. He walked out with his baby over the Jamuna, and it was raining, pouring, and all of a sudden he felt somebody's falling. Sheshanag placed his hoods over baby Krishna. Jai Shishi, Radha Gopinath, Radhanand, he arrived, everybody was asleep. Everybody was asleep because he was thinking, what if somebody sees me? But everybody was asleep. He brought Vasudeva Krishna, and Braj Krishna was not visible. So he took baby, the baby girl, exchanged it. At that time, that Vasudeva Krishna merged with Raj Krishna. And he took the baby back to the Jamuna, to the cell, and placed it into the hand of Devaki, and the baby started to cry. And Kamsai, he came to know of it, and he comes running, terrified. And then Devaki told him, no, look, it's a girl, because he wanted to kill it. It's a girl. You know, the prophecy was that the 8th child, the boy, will kill you. And Kamsa didn't care. He just took the baby and tried to, as he did with others. And at that moment she slipped. This was Mahamaya, actually. Mahamaya slipped from the hand into the air and said, "You fool. That child who will kill you is already born somewhere else." So, roughly this is how Krishna took birth. Then in Gokul, he grows up. Yogamaya is invisible, arranges Krishna's pastimes as a power that, just is there to fill his desires. So Krishna has a purport on his own to come to the world in order to get something. Krishna is an entity that has only one purpose: to accept love. Rasa. In Braj, he is growing up with his servants, with his sakhas, with Yashoda, the parents, the Vatsalya, and with the devotees, ultimately. And the fascinating thing in spiritual life is, or religion as such, that here, what Prabhupada gave us, we can enter a true relationship into that realm, Braja. So here what we see, nothing else but Braja. Radha and Gopinath, they represent the Dham of Braja. It's eternal. And it is meant, that appearance, actually, Krishna is appearing in Dwapara Yuga of the 28th Yuga cycle of the Manvatara avatar. This is once in a day of Brahma. Very, very rare. And followed by that, Lord Chaitanya. The eternal realities. If I build a pyramid with sticks, we can go all through the Dhams, Ayodhya Dham, Dwarka Dham, Mathura Dham, Braja Dham, on top Radha Krishna. There's still a gap, and the gap, the last, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Krishna is coming to the world to give us the chance to reinstall that lost connection. There is a verse that very nice describes the state of the jiva. Jatatastam tu chit rupam. The jiva is chit, we are chit. It means a spiritual entity is eternal. Also Sat Chit Ananda. Sva Samit tu Vinirgatam. That jiva, the tasta reality, Sasambit to Vinirgata means he departed from the Sambit potency. The Sambit potency is knowledge potency. The Ladini potency is ecstatic potency, and the Sandini potency is the Sattva, the existence potency. Yat tattastam to chitrupam, swasambit to vinirgata means nothing else that we, due to the ego and the desire for calm, departed from that energy in order to be independent from Krishna. And that sambit turns into material knowledge. The knowledge, the realization of being installed as a loving servant of Krishna, full of knowledge, how to serve him and be close to him, very close to him. In fact, what Mahaprabhu is giving, Rupa Goswami is giving, there is no higher ability or possibility to be reinstalled than in the service of Braj as the humble servants of Rupa Goswami in their hell, how they arrange the pastimes of Radha Krishna in their loving play. So Paritnanaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chaduskakam is kind of an external affair. Everybody can understand and study Bhagavad Gita. But a deeper application of this reality is given by the Goswamis. That they bring the secret exchange of Godhead on the topmost level, where rasa blooms into its highest pitch. Because the living entity here and there, Anandamaya Upyasat is consisting of Ananda. Rasa hi evayam lapvanandi bhavati. Shruti. This is in the Upanishad. Rasa hi evayam. It is rasa that gives the Ananda, and not the Ferrari or the, whatever we want. We have all our desires, and they are nothing but the shadow of the original desire to give pleasure to Krishna. You have a deity and you have a door that you can close, and that at that door you find a mirror. You have that attraction to the deity. You close the door and the mirror, whop, gives you immediate misconception. You cannot have the attraction to yourself. You just saw the deity. You see what I mean? And this is what's happening when we fall down. It's a tragic thing. We fall down all the time, even when we are initiated and perform sadhana, we fall down all the time. Because from kama to prema, if we draw a line, to get loose from karma and be attracted by prema is an enormous hard work, sadhana. Ado shraddha, sadhusanga, bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti, nishta, ruchi, ashakti, rati prema. Through Nam, program, temple, seva, we lift ourselves. Anatta nivritti is a state in that process which allows us to be free from nasty activities. You may have a desire in your mind, but you won't fulfill it because you already understood, due to the purification, that, oh no, it's too painful. It's just too painful to get caught by the modes. Anatta Nivriti, you have a desire, but you won't act. This is a quite high level already. Nishta Ruchi. So, Janmastami, to make it work, also for Krishna, is when Nishta Ruchi blooms. This is in the 19th chapter of Madhya Lila, explains Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami. He explains what I just did much more elaborately. Adoshada Sadhusanga Vajana Kriya Nishta Ruchi. Ashakti Hoite Chitta Janme Krishna Priti Ankur. So Janmastami, we can offer Krishna so many things. I can bring millions of pots of honey. He is happy, sure. We need the proper mentality. I might get proud when I bring so much honey. So it is not the external. It is the external in any case. But it is the internal, how we offer ourselves to Krishna. And to do that properly and thoroughly, the most important thing is to cultivate a culture of japa that is out of this world. Everybody knows japa. Japa is such a mysterious thing. But it is japa, of course, many things also, but the main thing is japa, chanting with love, and cultivating, having a life culture that allows us to have a high japa culture. We do not, I don't want to now get into too much, but if one chants Hare Krishna, it is very advisable to chant it early morning, also those who live outside. Temple life is Prabhupada created a brilliant ability to make spiritual advancement. And in fact, I personally say to people, those who never go through a few years at least the program of a temple, getting up, putting tilak, bath, all these programs, here, class, they who do not do that, is very difficult to really come to the point where this dynamic can be achieved. Thus we get attracted from the side of prema, an inspired devotional life. Those devotees, they are by themselves extremely attractive. Just by seeing them, one is inspired because they carry that ankur. Ashakti means attachment. Prabhupada, in many classes, in my early years, I heard Prabhupada class every day. And often he brought that simple thing, you just turn the attachment from this material plane to bring down. And attachment disposes in hearing of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And that attachment, Ashakti, Haite Chitta Janme, in the heart, Krishna Prityankur. That means, from that point on, Krishna is directly concerned. And he's always concerned with our spiritual advancement, but he will very closely, the Antarami, the super soul, will closely inspire a thought culture that is highly devotional. That means bhajan is beginning. You can ask any devotee. Generally, they don't speak about their bhajan, but it's essential that from a certain point on that a bhajan starts. That we do not just read because we have to read, but the reading becomes communication. That our consciousness with extreme enthusiasm is linked to Rupa Goswami's teachings. That what he wants to give us, that we practically imbibe these moods in order to have the power to reject things that are not favorable for devotional service. We are all more or less, forced, or as long as Ashakti is not there, we tend to find other things which give us pleasure. But the sincere devotee has to come to the point where he exclusively focuses the mind on what Lord Chaitanya is giving us. Prem ras niryas karite asvadan rag marg bhakti loke karite prajar. He, Krishna, the advent of Krishna is essentially to taste the love of his devotees. Prem ras niryas, niryas means essence. Karite asvadan. And the other thing which concerns us and which is beautiful for us, Rag Marg Bhakti Loke Karite Pracha. He teaches Rag Marg, the Raganuga Bhakti. Rag Marg Bhakti Loke Karite Pracha. That Premankur I spoke before, if we come to that platform, which I say, when a devotee is sincere for 25 years, something like that, we can get that Premankur. This is Ashakti before Rakti Bhava. All our emotions, they are only a shadow always from this original love of Krishna. There is a connection, it's very close. And we are very close to get that if we understood the principle of how to properly surrender. The culture of intense sincerity. Intense sincerity. Because the game is so special. That the Ladini potency is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Ladini Karena Krishna Ananda Asvadan. The Ladini Shakti is nothing else but Radharani. It is the personification of the Ladini Shakti. Ladini Karena Krishna Ananda Asvadan. Ladini Dvare Bhakta Hridaye Pusham. The Ladini nourishes the heart of the Bhakta. Nothing else but, expressed a little bit physically or in a physical example. You have an energy level and you have a piece of iron, it does not connect until you put the iron close. It may not even be needed to touch, but at some point the energy will jump over. And this is what Ladini wants to do. She's intensely desirous to get us, to take us and to offer to Krishna. Because every individual soul has a quality that is attractive to Krishna. And this is the reason why he comes to this material world. Otherwise, why he should come? He comes to this material world to get our love, to get our quality. He wants to hear how we chant his name. And he wants that the group of his eternal devotees get more and more helpers. Ananda Maya Upyasa. So the first words of Lord Chaitanya, Chaitodapana Machana, it means nothing else but to get to the point that Ladini can attract the heart. That we feel that. And then, and only then, we are able to give up things that are disturbing. Just like a pool, swimming pool. If I get some guests and I check swimming pool full of, tree stuff, so I take my net and clean the swimming pool. So everybody can analyze his consciousness like that. What can I take out from the swimming pool that gets clean? Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryangsa Samyavak Rukchibis Chittamasina Kridaso Bhava Uchate. This is in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami's description what is Bhava. Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. Shuddha Sattva is nothing else but the clean existence. Here, Mishra Sattva, 3 modes. Also, we want to get in a Shuddha platform, the 3 modes, they are nastily disturbing us. And Maya is helping. Maya is not there, Even if we come to the temple, she doesn't stop and say, very good, you go to the temple. Then she comes and watches and takes influence. Haridas Thakur, you know the story in Chaitanya Charitamrita? He was chanting, and Mahamaya tested him, came. Oh, great preacher, great sadhu. Look at me. See my beauty. It's for you. Haridas Thakur, yeah, very nice. But I have to finish my rounds. They gives the example, Come, finish my rounds. You come when I finish my rounds. He comes back. I did not yet finish. Sit down and hear the chanting. Then on the 3rd day she comes. He's chanting. The 3rd day she comes. She's so beautiful. So 2 examples. 2 things we can take from that. She comes and wants to disturb, but is also conquered by the purity of Haridas Thakur. Which means for us also we are so unfortunate because of the consistency of our minds, which is so nasty, trying to disturb. The sadhana, everything, still it works. So that means if we clinch to this conviction, I cannot say, Haridas Thakur did it, I can also do it. But what we can do is to pray. To pray to Haridas Thakur that we get that inspiration, that strength to overcome agitation. That's why I say that, cleaning the swimming pool is a constant activity day by day in order to become focused. And then, if one is sure that the mind is peaceful, we can start to find in Prabhupada's books texts that inspire the greatest possible input in how I stay close to what I really want. We want not to just bring some honey, but we want that Chuda Sattva in the heart, bring ourselves close to Radha Krishna. And it's done through chanting, as I said. It's done through extreme cultured behavior among the Vaishnavas. So, there's, in Prabhupada's ISKCON, there is unlimited chance to get good Sangha and to achieve what he wants to give us. Krishna Prema. And so many devotees came and again leave. If we analyze why this is, then it's not difficult to conclude that the main reason is that we do not give enough attention to the danger of being disrupted. Those who live in the temple are very fortunate if they just work according to the standard Prabhupada gives. Purity is the force, utility the principle, all these things. They can make immense advancement. The danger when they leave the temple, whatever marry or live outside, generally the ability to remain fixed decreases. And this is why, because two reasons. We do not know where to get the nectar in the books. And even if we do know where, it's not easy to lend ourselves to a degree that it really captures us. This is one thing, and the other thing, this is the positive thing. The negative thing is we are just too not enough fixed on the purpose of really trying to remain sincere.
But does sincerity mean that you just always follow the program, or sincerity
Yes.
is more?
Yes. If you live in the temple, Prabhupada made it very clear. Program must be attended. Very clear. You can go to the memories. You will never find, there are exceptions, but they are always connected to, let's say, if there is a need of, immediate need of to attain something which is very important for the preaching. But generally, there is a memory by, I forgot the name, but he asked his servant Prabhupada in Vrindavan, go check how many devotees are in the Mangalarti. Then he comes back, so many devotees were in Vrindavan, maybe 1/3 were there. Prabhupada got furious. And he said, even I should go to Mangalarti, but I have very important work to do. Yeah. So the point I want to make is spiritual life cannot lean back. Spiritual life means really actively cooperate. In temple can be done nicely because the structure is given. Once leaves the temple, generally few months, and it's you know, because it's very, you can very quickly press. In a second you have something that, oh, you know. To read Prabhupada's books can be taxing philosophical conceptions. Ooh. Yeah. At one point it might be tough. But Chaitanya Charitamrita has immense potential and essential chapters that deal with that topic I'm discussing. How to get connected with the Ladini potency in a practical way. So when he says Rag Marg Bhakti Loke Karite Prachar, it must be true. He gives to the world the Rag. And the fourth chapter develops two intense, beautiful descriptions of Radha Gopinath's pastimes. It is an explanation of how the Ladini potency actually functions. It establishes the Madhurya Ras as the topmost Ras which gives Krishna the highest pleasure. You have the Sakya, the Dasya Ras, which has a restricted Ras because it's dominated by respect. You know, it cannot go further. The Sakas, they go and jump on Krishna's shoulders. Vatsalya Ras has Poshan Palan heißt das, has that protection, and in the Madhurya Ras is the whole, you know, range of ability how you can offer yourself to Krishna. And it works up to the description why Krishna wanted the position of Radharani. Man Madhurya Radha Preme Due Hoto Koi Khane Khane Bade Dohe Kya Nahi Hari. My sweetness, Radha's Prema, they are fighting all the time. Khane Khane Bade Dohe means at any moment they increase. Kya Nahi Hari. And no one accepts defeat. So Krishna takes the form of Lord Chaitanya in order to find out what is the sweetness in Sri Radha. Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kitrishavane. The love, the greatness of her love, Sokam Chastya that Anubhavata, the happiness she experiences with that love, and the Madhurya, the sweetness. If we can study these verses word by word, our bhajan becomes very rich. Radha Krishna Ekka Atma Due Deyadhari Anyone Vilasarasa Aswadana Kori. You take that verse, simple verse. Radha Krishna Eka Atma, they are one. In Jaiva Dharma this is described that Atma Ramata, Krishna an aspect, and Priya Ramata, he expands in order to taste rasa. And the whole process is to link ourselves into this reality. You know, study what Mahaprabhu wants to experience. Is Krishna as, you know, covered by Rucham Svam Avavre Duti Iha Tavidam. He covered his black complexion, Rucham Svam Avavre Ruchita Iha Tavidam, and he takes on the luster of Srimati Radharani. And he teaches the devotees to follow that path. This is Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And Rupa Goswami got inspired by him to write that down in books, how to do that. So if we can lend our consciousness in a regular way to study these conceptions. I read in Jaiva Dharma, the Ujjvala Nilamani connects you to the world of the gopis. Jaiva Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, one of the greatest books in existence. Ujjvala Nilamani connects us to the world of the gopis. It's not a book that we take and read one time, maybe 2 times, or a few times. These are books, we live with them. Because they give that what we want. This is the manual to get connected to the Adiras, the Shringaras. This is what the world is getting from the Goswamis. Rag, Marg, Bhakti, Lokik, Karite, Prachar. Our Janmashtami becomes complete when our consciousness is driven to be extremely ecstatic, extremely enthusiastic. A complete determination to let the mind not wander, but take these books and we fill ourselves with that verses and constantly meditate upon the meaning so we can make immense spiritual advancement. We can feel that Priti Ankur at some day. And this is a very